When Team Cherry finally dropped Hollow Knight Silksong after years of silence, the gaming community erupted. Anticipation had been building since the original reveal, with players waiting through multiple gaming showcases, teasers, and years of speculation. Now that Silksong has been in players' hands for its first week, the question on everyone's mind is simple. Was it worth the wait, and is it worth playing? The opening reactions have been nothing short of explosive. Players immediately notice that Silksong feels familiar yet refreshing. The art style carries the hauntingly beautiful charm of the first Hollow Knight, but with brighter palettes and more verticality in the environments. Where Hollow Knight often leaned into muted tones and somber underground caverns, Silksong pushes the player upward into towering structures and glowing biomes. This aesthetic shift struck many fans as a sign that Silksong isn't just a sequel, it's an evolution. Gameplay impressions highlight speed as the most obvious change. Hornet, the new protagonist, is much faster and more agile than the Knight. From the very first moments, reviewers and streamers pointed out how the pace of combat feels different. Less deliberate and heavy, more fluid and reactive. The addition of a silk-based healing and mobility system changes how players approach encounters. Instead of pausing for a risky heal, Hornet can weave silk to restore herself on the fly, creating a much more aggressive rhythm. Fans who felt the first game encouraged caution are finding Silksong pushes them to be bold. That boldness comes with a cost: difficulty. Early reactions emphasize that Silksong is not an easier entry point for newcomers. Many players reported dying more frequently in the first hours than they did in Hollow Knight's opening stages. Enemies are faster, more varied, and more aggressive, often forcing the player to chain dodges and counterattacks rather than patiently waiting for openings. For veterans of the original game, this has been thrilling, a fresh challenge that tests their mastery. But for some casual players, the steep learning curve is already a point of frustration. Reviews of the world design have been glowing. Silksong's regions feel vast and layered, and the sheer amount of vertical exploration is earning praise. Streamers have compared the map design to a living puzzle box, with shortcuts, secrets, and unexpected boss encounters tucked away in every corner. The first week has revealed only a fraction of the full game's areas, but already fans are impressed with how alive and interconnected the world feels. Some even suggest that Silksong might surpass the original in pure environmental variety. Music, another cornerstone of Hollow Knight's identity, is also being celebrated. Christopher Larkin's compositions are drawing huge admiration, with many players noting that Silksong's soundtrack is both more dramatic and more melodic. Where Hollow Knight's music often felt eerie and lonely, Silksong carries a sharper energy, matching Hornet's swift combat and fiery personality. Clips of boss fights with soaring violin-driven tracks have gone viral on social media, sparking a wave of praise for how the score elevates the experience. Of course, no launch comes without criticism. Some players have mentioned performance hiccups on lower-end PCs and older consoles, with occasional frame drops during busy encounters. Others feel that the opening tutorial doesn't do enough to ease new players into Hornet's mechanics, leading to confusion about the Silk system. And while the difficulty excites veterans, some casual fans are voicing concerns that Silksong may be too punishing to reach its full potential audience. These complaints, however, are outweighed by the overwhelming enthusiasm pouring in across forums, YouTube comments, and Twitch chats. One of the strongest themes in first-week reactions is surprise at just how massive the game feels. Players expected a substantial expansion, but Silksong already shows signs of being larger in scope than Hollow Knight. Dozens of new enemies, an expanded quest system, and the sheer number of bosses being discovered hint at a game that will take weeks, not days, to fully unravel. For fans who waited years, this sense of abundance is exactly what they hoped for. Another talking point has been Hornet herself. In Hollow Knight, she was a mysterious rival, often appearing as a test of the player's skill. Now, taking control of her offers a new perspective on the world of Hallownest and beyond. Players are thrilled by her animations, voice clips, and personality, which contrast the silent Knight of the first game. Hornet feels alive, her movements precise, her quips sharp, and her style distinct. This shift has made many fans feel like they're not just playing a sequel, but inhabiting a completely new character with her own identity. Community reactions also highlight how Silksong rekindles the spirit of discovery. With so little marketing detail revealed ahead of launch, players are genuinely shocked by what they find. Each new boss encounter, quirky NPC, and strange environment is sparking discussion threads and fan art within hours of discovery. In an era where many games spoil themselves with trailers and previews, Silksong's relative secrecy has paid off. Fans are rediscovering the joy of going in blind, of sharing experiences without a walkthrough, of being surprised by the unknown. So, is Hollow Knight Silksong worth playing? If you're a fan of the first game, the answer from the first week's reactions seems to be a resounding yes. The sequel amplifies everything that made Hollow Knight special: tight combat, breathtaking world design, unforgettable music, while pushing forward with new mechanics and faster pacing. It's tougher, it's more ambitious, and it demands more from players, but that's exactly what longtime fans craved. In the end, the first week of Hollow Knight, Silksong has cemented the game as more than just a long-awaited sequel. It's a bold step forward that redefines what a follow-up can be. The excitement, the debates, and the countless clips of jaw-dropping boss fights all point to one truth: Silksong was worth the wait, and for most players, it's absolutely worth playing.